Well, it's been more than a week after this operation was commenced, and we are definitely sure that this is not our wishful thinking. These are facts on the ground that the Blitzkrieg plans have been failed. Russia has failed to achieve any of its key goals up to 48 or 72 hours. Now Russia has not achieved capturing any of key goals like cities of Kiev or Kharkiv or Odessa or Dnipro, which is absolutely essential for any sort of long-lasting occupation of Ukraine. So far, the war gets long-lasting. Russia is getting bogged down in this war. The casualties are extreme from the Russian side, and it seems like that they have no plan other than a quick and very easy victory within 48 hours. So, and they are running out of supplies. So things are definitely getting out of control for them, and the invasion is not being run as it was supposed to, as it seems to here. It's definitely an upsetting fact that we are losing cities and towns, but the fact is that the Russia has not got even close to giving the core mainland territories of Ukraine, the core cities that it strategically need to control in order to encircle Kiev and to force it into a sort of a political solution, a political deal in this. So far the time works on our side, on the Ukrainian side, just because the Russian forces are very limited in terms of their war manpower and their ability to control the territory that they capture. The more territories that they capture, the less power they have it. And behind the lines, they actually have no power at all. I mean, in many cases, they control nothing but, key roads along which they move. And in the cities behind the lines, behind their backs, in towns behind their backs, they have absolutely no power at all. They sometimes just enter, have a sort of a presence for several hours, and they need to move on without leaving any garrisons in these cities. So they basically control nothing but these roads. And so far it is definitely the case that their movement has been stalled in Kiev and Kharkiv. They are underestimated the Ukrainian resistance and the ability to fight back. So definitely they're getting bogged down in this war. In many facts, what we have seen over these weeks of fighting is that the Russian military forces sent to Ukraine, they appear to be far less perfectly equipped than we expect. In many ways, we meet very poorly equipped, very poorly motivated military units. In many ways, due to corruption, due to extremely poor maintenance, extremely poor logistics support, and they are running out of fuel. So definitely they have overestimated their own power and their own ability to fight. And on the other hand, Ukrainian military is definitely, in general, is lagging behind in terms of its advancement, in terms of technologies. But the Ukrainian military, the manpower, the personnel, and also the civilian reserve, it is far more experienced in terms of having a live combat experience in Donbass over these years. And Ukrainian military and also the civilian guard and lots of reserve troops in civilian life, they have way better conditions because they are on their home ground. They have full support from local population, and it gives a great advantage over the invading forces, especially given the fact that Ukraine is a huge land, the size of France, and it gives a lot of opportunities for the Ukrainian resistance, lots of challenges for the invading military, which is not that numerous for the full-fledged occupation of the country as big as Ukraine. We definitely want this. Because the Air Force, it's not a big secret that the Air Force of Ukraine is falling behind the Russian air superiority. And in many ways, what we can gain a foothold on is the advanced weaponry, because in many ways what we see on the ground over these days of invasion is that Russians basically use the same equipment, same old Soviet style military hardware and equipment as Ukrainians do in many ways. So the The upper hand can be achieved and is achieved in many ways just because of Western equipment and Turkish equipment. By the way, the Turkish Bayraktar drones are doing a great job in terms of stopping the Russian columns. So the key to victory, to very successful defense, in many ways, is the Western equipment, the anti-tank defense, air defense units. So in many ways, we do want more advanced weaponry, but also, for instance, in many ways, and when it comes to home guard units, the territorial defense, which is basically civilians taking up arms and helping the military behind the lines, we also fall short of simple rifles, for instance, because there are so many people willing to join and fight that there are long queues. Even yours truly is waiting for several days to get a rifle and to become actually a territorial defense fighter. So, yes, any sort of assistance is of great value, but modern equipment and including jet fighters are absolute value.